Hi everybody, it's your boy DIRSI coming to you another day with another topic on DI's information desk. And as you look at the monitor, you'll realize that we'll be speaking about the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump, and video games. Alright, let's see where this goes. Before we start, I want to say this explicitly that we at DI's information desk, we express our condolences to the families, and by families we mean immediate, extended, nation family, all families for the persons who would have experienced gun violence in recent times, or any times for that matter. And we're not speaking just in the United States of America, wherever in the world that gun violence would have claimed lives. That being said, let's jump right into the topic. So, video game violence and glorification must be stopped. It is creating monsters. End quote. I was trying to sound like President Trump 6 years ago. Apparently I do not sound like the president, but this was said 6 years ago by President Trump. He wasn't president then, but he said that video game violence and glorification must be stopped as it is creating monsters. So it seems that 6 years after saying that, he's looking to take some sort of action, because recently in a White House briefing following the Florida school shooting, the press secretary, Miss Sarah Sanders, was asked about the president's policy on gun control, and she said that Donald Trump will be, quote, be meeting with members of the video game industry to see what they can do on that front, end quote. Now, Miss Sanders' response has been widely discussed on social media, with some people heavily criticizing the president for pointing the finger at fictional games rather than actual firearms. Now, some people have even begun to wonder if they had inadvertently stumbled into the past, as the relationship between the video games and the violent behavior has long been debated into the media. Twitter post from Amanda Wong. Columbine happened when I was a freshman in high school, and we had to go through the whole rigmarole of, is it the Matrix? Is it goths? Is it video games? I am happy to know that in almost 20 years, the conversation barely moved forward one jot. End of her post on Twitter. One person asked why the White House was discussing video games, saying that Trump has, quote, has plenty of ideas for ending mass shootings, except gun control, end of quote. So when artist and director Rob Sheridan, known for his work with music group 9 Inch Nails, wondered if video game industry executives might suggest similar measures. This is the tweet from Rob Sheridan. I hope the video game executives are like, yeah, quote, yeah, thanks for talking to us. Since you asked our opinion, you should ban AR-15s. End of his tweet. And this also was followed by Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane, who pointed out that other countries without America's gun problems also have video games. And one person tried to find the funny side of things by rewriting Australia's 1996 gun ban for comic effect. Thomas Violence wrote on Twitter, people are making fun of Trump for this, but Australia got rid of their video games after a mass shooting in 1996 and haven't had one mass shooting since. Well, you know that Australia did not ban video game, of course, so that was just a jab at the president. But some people, naturally, are praising President Trump for taking action, with one person saying that the president is doing more and engaging more than Obama did. Another applauding Trump for addressing the surrounding issues of guns. What surrounding issues again? Alright. Meanwhile, Twitter users have begun to question, exactly who it is that Donald Trump intends on meeting. Because video game journalist Jason, I hope I get this right, Jason Schreier tweeted that the Entertainment Software Association, whose members include many of the largest game publishers in the United States, says neither the ESA nor its members have been invited to a meeting. And if a meeting does happen, one person wondered how the meeting could go ahead without causing some sort of contention. So Jack Jenkins posited on Twitter, who is he, President Trump, going to meet with? Activision, EA, ID, Bungie, Valve, Nintendo? Also, since the video game industry has spent literally decades rejecting the idea that they're to be blamed for violence, this sounds like a pretty contentious meeting in the making. End of his tweet. And that's not only the better part of it. Listen to this. Another article came out recently that said that video game companies were unaware of Trump's summit on video game violence. Let's head on into this topic. Now, almost as quickly as it came together, Donald Trump's video game summit seems to be falling apart. So in the aftermath of the school shooting in Florida recently that killed 17 individuals, Trump held a meeting on school safety at the White House, and where he said, quote, "We have to look at the internet because a lot of bad things are happening to young kids and young minds, and their minds are being formed, and we have to do something about maybe what they're seeing and how they're seeing it, and also video games." End of quote. So at the official briefing, the press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced that the president planned to meet, with next week with the leaders from the video game industry to see what they could do on the front, as I said earlier. But that's not the startling thing. This came as news to many of the biggest companies in the video game industry, which not only do they have no plans to attend the summit, but they were unaware that it was even taking place in the first place. Representatives, of several major game companies were caught off guard by the announcement, and many were unable to locate anyone in the industry who had been contacted or said that they would be willing to attend. The Entertainment Software Association, ESA, an industry group that represents a lot of companies, including Microsoft, Electronic Arts, Nintendo, as I said earlier on, Sony, Interactive Entertainment, Capcom, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and Warner Brothers. All of those things responded with a statement that both denied knowledge of the meeting and they also pushed back against its premise. A section of the release says, ESA and our member companies have not received an invitation to meet with President Trump, the group said in a statement. And continuing with sections, the same video games played in the US are played worldwide. However, the level of gun violence is exponentially higher in the United States than in other countries. Numerous authorities have examined the scientific record and found there is no link between media content and real-life violence. End of quote. So it is unclear what the White House has planned for this meeting, and it's entirely possible that new guests may, come out of the woodwork, but it doesn't seem likely. For video game companies, this is a no-win situation. The legal case for games as free speech is even stronger than it was after Columbine. But with political outcry growing against any and all organizations seen as enabling gun violence, it feels like the wrong time to play hardball. A lot of interesting things are going on. But even showing up for the meeting carries significant political risks. CEOs who joined in the president's advisory council at the beginning of the term saw immediate blowback, and most of the councils were disbanded in the wake of their later controversies. There's also no strong case for a link between violent video games and mass shooting. We have to face it, people. And the buckling to Trump's demands could spark an enormous backlash from gamers who are hypersensitive to even a hint of censorship. There's no upside for game companies in any of this, and countless ways to hurt themselves. The best outcome would be if everyone involved simply forgot it ever happened, because this is President Trump. It's a real possibility. Sanders was vague about the timing of the meeting, saying simply next week. That's still remarkably soon. If the next week passes without anyone at the White House remembering this announcement, there will be plenty of executives breathing sighs of relief. Ladies and gentlemen, I just really hope that we're looking not on what is on the line, but what is between and below the lines. Because watch this, a lot is at stake, and I believe that not addressing, gun issues properly and directly, but going around the issue. Listen to this. In the United States of America, almost anyone can arbitrarily own a gun. Almost anyone. Now, that is what has been putting the country at such huge risks. And the recent announcement that teachers could be arming themselves, could be armed with firearms. That's also another sign that something is radically wrong. Let me just tell you this. A student could just be in class, turn his or her back to the teacher to go and retrieve a pen, a pencil, or a book, or whatever it is from their backpack or whatever. And that teacher could feel that this is done in a manner that is threatening. And what happens? That student could be on the receiving end, or other students could be on the receiving end of bullets rather than knowledge and information impartation. Also, we heard that school in Florida will be getting, sheriffs and some added security with guns and all of those things. But I'm just simply saying that, what if a mass shooting happened in Texas, in Tennessee, in Nebraska? Are you going to find the sheriffs and other, armed, security forces for all of these schools? I think that the methods are just wrong in the first place. People, we have to look. The root cause of the gun issue and mass shootings are not being addressed. The branches and the leaves are what are being addressed, and until the root causes, too much access. And I guess everybody wants their freedom to own a gun and all of that sort of thing. But until they have tighter gun laws, then we're going to continue to have mass shootings every month or every other month. God forbid. So someone who advises the president need to watch this. I have nothing against the president. Let the guy do his job, but at the same time, the laws pertaining to gun acquisition needs to be controlled. This is DIRSI. If you have not yet followed me on Twitter, it is Dr_Freckleton, Dr_FRECKLETON. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Please share this video. Please give a like. Please drop a comment in the comment section below. I also have written a few ebooks. One is available on my website. I'm going to put a link in the description below. The Secrets of Super Success. It's an ebook, 19 or 20 pages of content that I believe that can benefit just about everyone, anyone. It costs $3.99. So please look in the description below. And guess what? We want a safe world that we could all equally travel to and be free of any sort of violence. So until next time, peace.